Are you starting your recruiting agency and you're like, what niche do I do? Or is your niche not working out for you right now? I hear ya. So check out this video right now and let's talk about how to select the right niche for you. Welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brianna Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. If you have not seen this channel before, it's all about making you the next Millionaire Recruiter. So let's get to it. Let's get you paid by finding your niche. First and foremost, I have to touch on this. You get a niche because, especially if you're a one-person show for right now, even if you're a small agency, okay, it's important to have a niche because as you are doing business development, you need to find candidates at the same time. So if you're finding candidates at the same time for one particular role, guess what? When the client says, yes, please, you already have this pipeline that you can go bink. Now, also, if I have one candidate and now I have 5 roles for them, 5 companies, guess what? What are your chances of now placing this candidate? They're pretty high now, those who just sending them to one-offs. It's a lot of work, but probably little result. So try to niche down as much as you can. And lots of times, actually, your niche finds you. So be open to that. This is not one of those things that you're like, if I don't figure this out, I'm not going to make money. It's not going to happen. No, this happens. It's just you have to do biz dev. So you can go into it thinking, I'm going to do this, but you also need to be okay with maybe the universe has another idea for you. And then now you're doing this. Okay. And you can always reinvent your niche. Okay. So as you all know that have been watching my channel, by the way, if you're just joining me, thank you. Welcome. So like, subscribe. But you know that I'm in tech. Well, if you know anything about the world right now, you have seen that tech layoffs have been extreme. So I got to tell you, I've thought about it. Do I just ditch tech? I've been in for 15 years. Should I just ditch it? Maybe, now it's coming back, so I'm not. But I did think about it, okay? And there was a couple times where we did go outside our realm of things because at the end of the day, a good recruiter is a good recruiter. You just have to work harder in order to get that network up, okay? So when you're picking your niche, there's a couple things to think about. First of all, I have seen so many people that have done a certain job decide, I want to be a recruiter. I'm going to now recruit for my industry, my particular job. Super cool, easy segue. There's not a lot of, you won't have to learn about your role, which is great. The only thing here I'm going to push back on is, are you going to be overly critical now because you've done this role? So that's just something to think about. Are you going to still be able to move fast and with an open mind, or are you going to be biased? Because remember, recruiters, you cannot be biased, okay? There's so many reasons why, but definitely as a recruiter, that's not what's going to make you the most money, okay? You also have to think about supply and demand. Okay, so a good example of that is, hey, let's use engineers, or actually let's use nurses. So medical, also another hot industry, okay? So there's plenty of reports. And so I definitely want to make sure you're looking at employment reports. And so we can go on like the US Census for that. But you want to see, okay, I saw a report that not only are nurses and engineering, there is a giant shortage. And they have said that it's going to go over 1 million people in shortage in like just a couple of years. So that is massive, right? So the supply and demand is off the charts. But something else you have to think about is, is it too off? Is there too much competition? So you really have to think about supply and demand versus competition. Also have to think about, hey, how much do they get paid? Because that's important too. So you can pick a niche, like medical and tech that pay really well. So then the fees are going to be really great. But you could also pick another one that moves very quickly, which is like hospitality, for example, or, workers that are not getting paid as much. So the fees very small, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot, like you're placing like 5 people a week as opposed to maybe 5 people a month. Like that would be a big month. Okay. So there's give and takes there. It all depends on what you like. I know there's some people that love doing sales, love recruiting for salespeople. I personally never would because I don't like the mindset. I don't like the lies. I don't like only focusing on money. That's not for me. It's like more of a turn and burn kind of situation. But maybe you love that. Maybe that's something you dig. Go for it. So again, this niche is really up to you. So definitely focus on average salary and what you want that to look like. And something I don't think a lot of people think about is, am I picking an industry that likes recruiters? Well, as you know, not many people like recruiters in general, okay? Whatever. But what I mean by that is, are they used to working with recruiters? Is recruiters a very normal thing in their industry? So we know, of course, again, going back to medical and tech, that's very normal. However, I will say locations and certain industries, types of companies are more used to recruiters. Here's an example. I live in Southern California, but yet a lot of my business is in Northern California, is in the Bay Area, Silicon Valley. And everyone's like, why wouldn't you do LA? You can go to meet clients all the time. They don't love recruiters like the Bay Area loves recruiters, okay? Like they treat us more like royalty up there as opposed to LA where they're like, no, we got this, okay? So you will get to know your market. Now, at first, you might not know where they love recruiters, okay? Because you're probably looking at postings and all of the posting says, external recruiters not welcome. We do not work with external recruiters. That's on every single posting, just like education is on every single posting. I swear, I feel like those are just like the staples. But come on, we all know that about 90%, I would say at least, work with recruiters. Okay, so do not get deterred by that. That's just something you will start to vibe and start to see. But naturally, when there is a supply and demand issue, people are working with recruiters. They don't really have a choice. So when you see job postings, like let's say you're on LinkedIn, you see a job posting and you're like, oh, I might think that this might be my niche. Maybe I want to fill this role. If you see very little applicants, you know for sure they need you. If you see way too many applicants in a short period of time, guess what? You know they need you because they can't even handle looking at that many resumes, that many inbound applicants. So think both ways there. Which means you're doing your homework. You're going to look on Indeed and LinkedIn and all the other job boards that there is, and you're going to put in what you're looking for, the location you're looking for. Maybe you want to do remote, and you're going to see how many roles are open and what type of companies you're seeing doing postings and what the salary range is now. So if you want to be really particular and know for a fact what the salary ranges are, look in Colorado, look in New York, and look in California. We're getting a lot better. Well, Colorado, it's a law, but in California and New York, for sure, we're definitely getting used to putting our salary bands on there. So, and then do the math there. You're probably going to get a 20 to 25% fee of that first year salary. So again, do your homework. Now, another thing that I would really pay attention to as you're thinking about your niche is market issue. So can you solve a certain issue in the market that you want to recruit for? So you can start looking at different trends. Again, I really suggest, I say this a lot in my videos, is subscribing to newsletters, not just with like Morning Brew, Crunchbase, stuff like that, but also other recruiting companies' newsletters, which means, subscribe to mine. I just started one. So I do put all the things that we see, all the different brands, what's going on, because remember, I deal with all sorts of, I'm in recruiting in all sorts of different ways. And so we see a lot of things and we try to pass that information on to you. So super important that you're paying attention to that, because then now you're going to think about, what am I solving? Why am I here? What's my uniqueness that I'm going to bring to this niche? Because all of that matters. So have fun finding this. Again, I know it's going to take a little work, and you at the end of the day should be the one that chooses this, not other people. I mean, sometimes the market chooses this, like I was talking about with tech, it's been down for a while. So it all depends on what your frustration tolerance is, what your risk tolerance is super important. So have fun with it though. You can still make so much money, and yes, $1 million a year on recruiting. So enjoy, have fun, and I will see you every Thursday at noon with more tips and tricks. And don't forget that on Tuesdays, I also release the podcast, Talent Takeover Unfiltered with Taylor Bradley. We have tons of fun doing that. Sometimes it's just the both of us, but other times we have really awesome guests. So hope to see you with that as well. And don't forget that money is just the vessel to do all the amazing things you want to go do in life. So go live it. See you next week.